50% of women will have visible hair loss by 50.
Yeah,
and
that's crazy.
66% of men by 35.
35.
But by the time you actually see visible hair loss or thinning hair, you've actually lost about 50% of the density of your hair. So it's something that you really, just like everything else, diet, exercise,
Proactive.
Yeah, you want to be proactive. You want to be preventative.
The Move Forward Everyday podcast, we all get 24 hours in a day to have freedom, to experience joy. What is important to you? Who are you? And what makes you happy? Hi, everyone. I'm MaryRuth Guillaume, the founder and CEO of MaryRuth Organics. And today on the Move Forward Everyday podcast, we have not only one of my close friends for a few years now, John Goss, but he's also going to share with us his morning routine, his nighttime routine, and he has an incredible hair company. And what I love about everyone listening is that our most asked questions for the last 2 years have been about hair. So we are very blessed. John is also my neighbor. He lives like maybe 1 or 2 miles away from me. And today is the day he has come on the podcast. So John, please share with us anything you think is helpful about your personal, your professional life, and your whole journey as an incredible entrepreneur of the brand Adegen. Am I saying that correctly?
Yep. Great. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, for people that don't know you personally, I'm so inspired by you and your success, but so much more than your success, like who you are as a person. And, you have this thriving company. You guys are it's amazing what you guys have done. I'm truly inspired by your success, but I'm so inspired by the person you are. Like, I genuinely mean that. Like, you're such an amazing human. And for all your customers, I know you have so many people that, watch you and follow you on social, but like to see you behind the scenes, like what you see and who she is behind the scenes is even better than what you see. Like, you're such a genuinely amazing human. And like, I feel very privileged, and it's an honor to be friends. And like, I'm so grateful. And truly, you're one of the most amazing, like, inspiring people that I know. So thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, John. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So I grew up in a small little farm town in Ohio. And even as a little kid, I was always obsessed with my hair. Grew up
hair looks good.
taking my mom, making my mom take me to like salons instead of barbers, and I take pictures of like Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise. Like, I want to get my hair like this. So I was always obsessed with my hair, even as a young kid. I got voted best hair in high school, and so my hair,
it's so amazing.
My hair was like a huge part of my identity. And my grandfather on my mom's side, who was always told we inherited our hair genetics from our mom's side, had the most beautiful black thick head of hair. And so I thought I hit like the hair lottery genetics, and I'd never have to worry about hair loss or thinning hair. And as soon as I graduated high school, I started losing my hair.
And that's so young. That's crazy.
Horrible. Like, I couldn't, like, it destroyed me. I mean, it was
also, do you remember like it was coming from the front, a little in the back?
At the beginning, I honestly couldn't even like admit or like accept that it was happening. It was like, it was such a shock to me at such a young age, and seriously, it was such an emotionally devastating thing to have happen at a young age. And I think like thinning hair and hair loss is one of our first signs of like mortality, to be honest with you. I think it's like one of the first things that can happen.
That's well said.
What is going on? Like, it's like, and so I never thought that I'd have a company, that talks about, or that I'd be on a podcast with you talking about hair loss and hair growth and things like that. But here we are. So I, played sports in college, graduated, I went into medical sales, and I did that for like 6 years. And then I was in the shower doing my routine, and I heard this voice in my head that said, this can really help a lot of people. And that's kind of what led me into entrepreneurship and starting the company. And it's been a very long journey. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at now. And things are going very well. We got voted Inc. 5000 last year as one of the fastest growing companies. So really grateful. But I moved to Beverly Hills, about a year ago. So super grateful to be here and super thankful to be with you.
Also wanted to go back to where you were sharing how you were in the shower and some hair was coming out. And at first you were almost in denial because I think that's what a lot of women are going through. They get pregnant. Hair loss is very common after you give birth and postpartum. And there's like the same kind of story where women are like almost not even sure, oh, that's weird. So how long do you think it took you from when you were like, okay, I need to do something, from when you first started to lose your hair?
So that's I think the biggest thing is educating and understanding what's actually happening. So it took me years to actually understand what is actually happening, what's the root cause. And there's so many things on the market, and so like it's such a painful problem that I think, the market is so big and there's so many people selling things and taking advantage of people. And I tried product after product. And as you know, there's only 2 FDA approved products for hair loss, minoxidil and finasteride, and those have been out for over 35 years. So think about the technology that has advanced in the last 35 years. Like,
there were no cell phones,
it's
really.
It's insane, but there's a reason why that is. But first of all, like, it's a much more common issue than most people realize. And 50% of women have visible hair loss by the age of 50. And 65 or 66% of men by 35. So it's super common. And by the time you actually see visible hair loss, you've already lost about 50% density.
Can you also say all 3 of those stats again for our listeners? I know they're going to want to hear it, or talk about it with their friends, or tell their daughter or their son. So 50% of all women.
So that's the other thing that was interesting for me is I was always working on trying to solve my own and treat my own problem. But I didn't realize how common it was for women. But 50% of women will have visible hair loss by 50.
Yeah,
and
that's crazy.
66% of men by 35. But by the time you actually see visible hair loss or thinning hair, you've actually lost about 50% of the density of your hair. So it's something that you really, just like everything else, diet, exercise,
proactive.
Yeah, you want to be proactive. You want to be preventative. Dental care. So there's so many things that we are educated on how to be preventative and proactive and take care of our health. But the hair is one of the things that nobody really talks about.
Yeah.
Being
brilliant, actually, what you just said about dental care.
Yeah.
It's like hair care.
Yeah. And what's funny is, when people ask me, like, what have I done or what do I do? Then they're like, well, do I have to do this for the rest of my life? I'm like, well, no, only as long as you want to have good hair or take care of your hair. But the same thing if you want to, work out or take care of your body or as long as you take care, as long as you keep brushing your teeth. But it is something that unfortunately is a sign of aging. It's, they call it androgenetic or, genetic hair loss, but there's all these different, what I say is hair loss is actually not the problem. Thinning hair and hair loss is not the problem. It's a symptom of an underlying problem. And that underlying problem is...
your body's talking to you.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a warning flag. I mean, it's like it's a red flag saying there's something wrong. And what's going on is there's the health of the hair follicle is struggling. So the hair follicle, and the reason why the hair follicle is struggling is because it's getting a lack of vitamins and nutrients and oxygen and blood flow. So it's very similar to cardiovascular disease where the heart and the arteries get clogged. The arteries of the heart get clogged by plaque. It restricts blood flow. And then that cuts off vitamins and nutrients to the cells of the muscle of the heart. And if that's not fixed, they call it a heart attack. And it's actually the number 1 cause of death in the world. I mean, it's a huge thing. So it's very similar. It's not, the hair follicle isn't getting clogged with plaque, but there's a part of the hair follicle, but called the androgen receptor. I don't want to get technical, but what happens is blood flow is getting restricted to the hair follicle. And then the hair follicle starts getting less oxygen, blood flow, and nutrients because blood flow is the vehicle. It's the delivery vehicle to all the nutrients and minerals and vitamins. So what happens is it starts producing thinner hair because it's weaker. And you don't see that at the beginning, but as the hair follicle gets weaker and weaker, the hair gets thinner and thinner until the hair follicle is so weak that it can't produce visible hair, and we call it hair loss. But it's really a cause and effect.
It's a whole process.
It's a whole process that can be very gradual or it can be very aggressive. My hair's better now than it was when I was, even in college. But if you are bald and you're rocking the shaved head, like more power to you because like it is, I think the good thing about hair loss is that it's 90+% of hair loss is androgenetic. It's genetic. You can actually absolutely. And the best news for women is it is so easy for women to stop and reverse hair loss and thinning hair. It's like because women have a much lower level of testosterone, and testosterone gets converted to these hormones that actually are the cause of the issue at the hair follicle. But it is so easy for women. It's so easy for women to have the most like amazing results, reverse thinning hair, and have incredible results.
Especially what you're saying about being proactive. And I know a lot of the listeners are women who, especially if they're clicking on this episode, which will say like talking about hair loss, talking about hair. If you're proactive, you could put it into your morning routine or your nighttime routine. So can we also talk a little bit about that as well? So will you share with us your morning routine and then where your hair care, proactive hair care to keep this hair is in the routine, or if it's at night, or if it's in the morning and at night, or when you shower? We would love to hear it all. So we'd like to hear just like whatever you do that is really authentic to you.
I really need to read your book, The Time Blocking, because I need a better morning routine to be better on schedule. But I've been, my basic morning routine is get up, and I've been trying to really just wake up and get in the shower and get my day going. But I'll wake up, I'll do some type of meditation or listen to something positive for the first like 15 to 20 minutes. Like that's the first thing I do. I wake up, I have a few favorite videos on YouTube or things that I listen to, but really trying to get the mind under control and going into a positive direction with some type of, meditation or positive affirmations and things like that. Then I try to get in the shower. And the first thing I do, honestly, the first thing that I do when I get in the shower is my hair routine. So it's one of the things that I do is very counterintuitive, because when most people start experiencing thinning hair or hair loss, I think the first thing they do is they think that they need to be delicate and careful with their hair, not to be,
I love
aggressive.
This part about your system.
Yeah, most people think that when you start having thinning hair, you need to be careful and delicate.
This is so important that you're saying this. You know this, but so many people listening do not know this. So I'm very excited for you to share. Yeah,
so it's actually the complete opposite. Like you actually want to be aggressive, and you want to, exfoliate, just like what we do with our teeth, right? You go to the dentist, but you floss, you brush your teeth, you're removing plaque. Well, nobody's really taught us what to do that for our scalp and our hair. So everybody's focused on the hair, but the hair is just a byproduct of the hair follicle and the scalp. So the hair is actually dead fiber. You want to do things to take care of your hair with like nice products, and you'll know more about that than I do. I don't, for me, it's pretty easy, but the health of the hair follicle is something that, like I said, it really needs oxygen and vitamins and nutrients. But what I do when I first get in the shower is I really like rinse out my hair with warm water. Warm water, not super hot, but warm, because the law of thermodynamics, that anything that increases in temperature expands. So warmer water.
Nicely said.
Yeah, I really let my scalp kind of just rinse for like a few minutes with warm water, and then I put in shampoo, and I use these brushes that I created.
Yeah, on your website.
Yeah, it's crazy. I spent like 2 years designing these brushes that I worked with a Boeing engineer from Pennsylvania. So I was flying back and forth from Ohio to Pennsylvania to work with this Boeing engineer to create these brushes, because I'm super OCD and I'm a perfectionist, so they're way over engineered. But basically what they do is so I put the shampoo in, and then I really exfoliate my scalp with these brushes. So like I said, most people are worried about damaging the hair when their hair's thinning, but you actually really want to be aggressive. And a lot of people talk about scalp massage and blood flow that way. And there's a lot of, there's definitely a lot of different techniques for scalp massage. But what I found to be the most effective are these brushes, and I really just vigorously brush the scalp. I get the hair going in one direction. And for women that have longer hair, what I found is sometimes it's best to actually put in conditioner first and then use the brushes, because if you have really long hair, if you do it with shampoo for women, sometimes their hair can be so long it can get knotted. But there's a few different ways you can do it. You could put in conditioner and get a pattern going through your hair, almost like you're slicking, brushing your hair back, but then really vigorously brushing your scalp, and that like exfoliates dead skin, dandruff, sebum, and it also creates micro trauma to that area, which then the body sends healing mechanisms of blood flow and things like that.
Blood flow, like circulation.
Yeah. So that's really the first thing that I do, and then I kind of rinse that out. I'll put in the shampoo that I use again, and then I'll let that sit for 5 minutes while I do the rest of my shower stuff. I brush my teeth in the shower.
Nice. Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of people don't.
A lot
do
of
that.
people do it. I did in
Yeah,
college.
you
There's like a
love it
little
or hate
mirror.
it. Yeah. So I do that, and then I get started for the day. I try to get in some steps. I'm really working on, which you've really helped me with and inspired me with, my diet and nutrition, and really trying to get in some protein and drinking enough water in the morning.
Yeah.
I've been working on my health with that, and then headed off to the day. But my main routine is in the evening, for my hair at least.
We definitely want to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, it's
also,
super
just
simple.
to go back quickly with the brushes, I can't remember. Can children use it too?
Sure. Yeah.
Because some children have hair loss. It's a blood flow circulation thing as well.
And I want to be really clear, like the vast majority, over 90% of hair loss, thinning hair, is androgenetic alopecia, which is, based on your hormones. There's also, autoimmune and other types of hair loss that's like sudden and patchy, and one of them's called alopecia areata. So there are definitely things that you absolutely should see your doctor about. You should see your doctor about.
I always say that every time I'm talking, I'm like, check with your doctor.
Yeah,
every child is different. Every person is different. Check with your doctor.
You should have your blood tested. You should have your,
everything,
hormones checked. You should talk to your doctor. So, but what's interesting is, a lot of people can have, DHT is one of the big common, androgen hormones that people talk about that cause hair loss, but they don't talk about why that causes hair loss. And they don't explain that is binding to the hair follicle and it's restricting blood supply to the hair follicle. So even if you do go to the doctor and your DHT levels are normal, your hair follicles can still be prone. Like, two people can have the exact same levels of DHT and one can have severe hair loss and the other one might not be. So it really can be an individual case, but the good news is it's actually very easy to block that process from happening, inhibiting DHT at the hair follicle. And again, for women, like I know you have a lot of women that watch.
Yeah, and they lose their hair in the bald, like a patch in the back here.
Yeah, well, women. So there's male pattern baldness, male pattern, and that's typically more of a pattern, like
genetic.
So. Well, no, they're both actually the exact same thing, but women's genetic hair loss for women, androgenetic alopecia for women, it tends to actually be, they call it diffuse thinning. So they typically don't have like a bald patch in the back or receding hairline like men do. Men typically they follow a pattern, but women, they call it diffuse thinning. So your hair just gets thinner completely all over.
Yeah, like when people send me photos to customer experience, it looks like almost also at the part.
Yeah. So it's really the entire scalp but it's really just because the hair follicles are struggling with not getting enough blood flow, and that is causing, they're not getting the nutrients and the vitamins that they need to the hair follicle, and the hair follicle is struggling. So,
and I have a very special place for that topic with women, because like you said, men can definitely be okay and cute with a bald head, but women, it's like very sensitive topic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It really is. Yeah, it really is.
And I've seen on your website the before and after photos, or on Instagram, and it is very fascinating. Like whole, like you said, like the women's hair is kind of all over, and then it's starting to come back.
Yeah, it is amazing. I get asked a lot, like, can you reverse it? And when I launched the company, you could definitely stop it. Like, full transparency. I had a hair transplant, but even then, I had a hair transplant thinking that was the final solution, because I used minoxidil, I used finasteride.
Right.
Then that didn't work. Then I started using off-label prescription drugs, everything you could possibly imagine, and I kept losing my hair. Had a hair transplant because I was told that was the final solution, and that was a permanent solution, and I kept losing that hair too. So you can have a hair transplant. And if you don't treat the cause, the underlying cause, you're going to continue having issues.
That's the most important part.
But when I launched the company, I try to take into consideration people like myself. I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, but we've seen results that I didn't even believe possible when I started the company. So we've seen
amazing,
incredible results. Like if you're completely bald and you're an older gentleman that's in his 60s, 70s, or 80s, and you're completely bald, I'm not going to tell you can regrow a full head of hair. Like, technology is amazing. There's, a few doctors that I see that do, massive hair transplants, like, huge. Wow. So there's always a solution. So no matter what your condition is or the place that you're in, there is always hope. And the technology's constantly evolving and growing and getting better. So you can absolutely stop hair loss. You can absolutely have, great results. And if you do need a hair transplant too, that's all available also. So there's always hope. But for women, it is so easy. It's so easy, which again, I never anticipated, having women as clients, but like 40% of our customers are women. So it's something that.
And they've added it to their routine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And at night, you were sharing with us that you maybe use the roller then?
Yeah. So
I know
at
you have
night,
a roller.
Yeah. So, minoxidil is a great, ingredient. So like a lot of women can have success with just, like minoxidil foam or the problem with minoxidil, it's a vasodilator. So, I'm saying if a lack of blood flow is a problem, minoxidil increases the diameter of the vessel, so you get more blood flow to the hair follicle. So you would think that would, solve the problem and be the solution. The issue with minoxidil only is that it's almost like if you have a kink garden hose trying to go over to the faucet to turn up the pressure, but without removing the kink. So minoxidil is helpful. It can help with hair growth. That's a good
analogy. It's blocked, still blocked.
Yeah, it's still blocked. So it's not treating the actually underlying symptom. So that's what finasteride and these DHT blockers do. But for women, which is interesting, women that are under 50, they recommend not using finasteride or dutasteride or these DHT blockers. But there's things that you can do topically that inhibit DHT at the hair follicle, it can have amazing results. So that's what I do at night. At night, I'm obsessed about my hair, but I really if I don't shower again at night, I'll use my little roller. I only use that like once or twice a week.
Because you already it's already kind of grown back.
Now I'm just trying to like maintenance and prevent it, but I still use a topical solution every night. And it's super simple. It takes like 30 seconds.
Like you put a little drops in where like it's a little oil. Some people are like, I don't want to put something in my head before I go to sleep.
Yeah. So we actually just came out with, and I haven't even launched it yet. So we're soon. But I've been using it for like 6 months now. A sprayer.
That's
to where
amazing.
I put it on the topical. Yeah, I put it on the top of the liquid solution, and I just you can put it on the scalp and I just spray it. It takes like 30 seconds. So that's really the only thing that I do at night. Is the topical solution. I'll either roll, but I use the topical solution every night. I have very aggressive, I'm very prone to hair loss. Like if I didn't use this, I would really, so I have to really stay on top of it. But, so again, it depends on like the severity of the case, but for women, they don't even need to do that every night. Like some women can just do it. I know women don't shampoo or shower every day, or I know they shower every day, but as far as shampooing, sometimes, women don't want to wash their hair every day. They shouldn't be afraid of washing their hair every day, actually, because there are multiple studies that show actually washing your hair and exfoliating your scalp are better for the hair. So there's another,
you said,
it's another
warm
myth.
Water, opening the follicle.
There's another myth that like if you only shampoo or wash your hair once a week or every 2 weeks,
your hair's not going to fall out.
Yeah, you're going to have better hair. It's a total myth. So you shouldn't be afraid of washing your hair every day.
For everyone listening, I wash my hair every other day.
Beautiful.
But that was only since I had the twins. Prior to the twins, I washed my hair every single day. And I do feel like.
Yeah, and you have beautiful hair.
And I feel like that was a good thing for me.
Yeah.
Like consciously, unconsciously. I always felt like you said, like washing, shampooing.
Yeah. And
otherwise your scalp is just kind of like
so
staying, like if people going 7 days not washing their hair, because this is a great tip for people listening, like simple, like where to start is, like you said, if you're losing your hair and you're a woman and you're afraid, oh my goodness, if I take a shower, I'll just wash my hair once a week or twice a week. First good step, baby step is like you said, like get warm water, let's exfoliate, let's use your brushes.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the first thing is just realizing that there is absolutely hope and a solution.
People need to hear that.
Yeah, like that was the biggest thing for me. I tried so many things that they didn't work, and I kept failing at, failure after failure after failure. And I got to the place where I really just lost complete hope that it was even possible to have results, and I thought I was going to have to live with this forever. And at a young age, it was like super depressing. So the first thing is, no matter what your condition, if your hair matters to you, if it's something that is, bothering you, that there are absolutely solutions to it. And even one ingredient that I feel like, so the issue is that in 1989, I don't know, can I go deep into science a little
please.
bit?
Anyone listening to this wants to hear about hair. They're only coming to hear whatever.
So here's the big issue. In 1989, the FDA issued they call it a final action rule, that they say, if you say hair loss treats hair loss, grows hair, and you know this, right? Because of all the claims and things like 100%. That on all the products. So if you say grows hair, treats hair loss, regrows your hair, the FDA in 1989 issued a rule saying you have to go through FDA approval for a new drug application. The problem with that is that costs billions of dollars, $2.5 to $3 billion now on average. Well, the hair loss industry is a multi-billion dollar industry. So big pharmaceutical companies or any company that had that amount of money or could raise that amount of money would happily go through FDA approval for the new drug application if they had the cure to hair loss. The issue with that is they would need to get a patent to protect their IP, so somebody couldn't just rip them off and copy, and not, that they're going to spend $3 billion and then somebody else can just
100%.
make the same product without going through the investment.
Exactly.
Well, the issue is you can't get a patent on anything that's natural, anything that's already been proven effective, or a prescription or combination of those things. So there's this huge, because there are so many effective things that are actually available, proven effective, studied, proven effective at different universities. And that's how I started learning about these things. I just became obsessed. And I was researching like patents. I was reading all these NCBI and PubMed studies and these universities that were publishing this data about these different ingredients. I'm like, why the heck aren't these available to me? And so that sent me on this wild goose chase. And we're actually launching a pharmacy, a compounding pharmacy, to be able to make these things available to everybody. But it's been a huge challenge. It's been insane. The things that you have to do to make these things available to the public. For us, it's been, it's insane. We had to start a pharmacy, get licensed in every, we're licensed in 46 states now, but it's been a multi-year process, several $1 million.
So positive.
But, this has been the challenge because an ingredient like tretinoin, are you familiar with tretinoin or retinoic acid? So retinol, I'm sure you've heard of retinol.
Yes.
Okay, so tretinoin is a retinol. It's in that family, but it's proven to have just amazing results for hair growth. And for women, there's a study, I'm trying to remember the exact number, but it was like 80% of women that used this had positive regrowth, hair regrowth, not just stopping hair loss, actually regrowth. So I use that in my topical formula, and it's something that's so common. It's super cheap. It's available, but most people don't know about it. But they don't know about it because people can't market or talk about it because they can't sell it for hair loss because it's not FDA approved for hair loss. It's used off label. But no, it will never be able to be sold and marketed for that unless you do what we're doing, going through a compounding pharmacy. But so really, that's been my goal, and I'm super grateful to be on the podcast because I feel like my biggest challenge is just educating and like sharing my experience and my story, and I really need to do a lot better job about it and creating more content. And I'm going to be doing that next year. But there's a lot of things you can do that are actually really, really easy and super effective. But the issue is just most people don't know about these things. So that's where we are. So
before we go, what would you say is anything else you want to say on the topic of like hair loss, regrowth, anything else you want anyone to know? Just overall, like thinking of how many years have you been doing this?
Yeah, I think the only thing I'd really want them to know is you're not alone, and like it's a super common thing, and that we think that if we're going through these problems, and it can be other things too, right? Like your weight or your
100%. When you were after you were going to finish, I was going to say a lot of moms listening to this podcast have teenagers who have acne, and it really affects them. Like teenagers with acne are sometimes suicidal. They are depressed. They don't want to go out. So continue. But like this is like kind of the theme that people have these ailments. They're not alone. And
so I think the big thing that I realized through this journey is, and they say that entrepreneurship is one of the greatest, personal development journeys.
Journey.
And what I've realized is you can fully restore your hair, and we can do that. And there's people that can help do that, but you're not alone, and there's nothing wrong with you. Like, it's still about you can. There's always going to be something that we don't think we're good enough, or that there's something about this or that, and that it really is about loving yourself exactly the way that you are, and accepting yourself the way that you are now. Because yes, you can regrow your hair, and I'm super thankful, and I like my hair, but I think the most important thing, and I think that you've done such a great job with that, and I see your friends and your family and your personal journey. I think, accepting ourselves, loving ourselves, really working on loving ourselves the way that we are, no matter what, is the most important thing. Yeah.
So at MaryRuth Organics, we have this saying about, it started last summer at the all-company retreat, but we were saying that mental health is health and wellness. Something I know about you from being your friend, and it's interesting to listen to John on the podcast, is it really starts in the mind. And you even started that when you first started speaking on the podcast today, and you kind of close with the same thing, which is mental health is health and wellness. What you think in your mind is like a great first step. People are not alone. And I think also patience, you also went through a journey in building the company and helping people and being to service of people. Okay, I'm going to learn about all these ingredients. Yeah. I'm going to see what kind of delivery format I can give it to. How can I make it accessible? Will it work? In what scenarios will it work? That's why you know so much about the FDA, the different ingredients, what you were just saying about the compounding pharmacy, the way you can deliver it to people. So I think patience is a part, like you said, acceptance of yourself. Yeah. You're not alone. I think patience is a big thing. Whatever physical ailment, I always say on the firesides, leave no stone left unturned. Keep looking, keep trying to find something that's going to help whatever physical ailment you have that is hurting you.
That's actually a really good point. So consistency, I tell people you have to be consistent for 90 days before you can start really expecting to see results. And the reason why, so the company is called Adegen, but that name was inspired from the anagen, which is the growth phase of the hair cycle. But the early part of the anagen growth phase is on average 90 to 100 days. So
that's a great
It
fact.
takes a little bit of time, and you have to be consistent. A lot of people see results within a month or 2 months, but I say you really got to be consistent for 90 days, and you will see results. And the other thing I think that people are worried about is, that shedding. You've heard about minoxidil, or if you use a minoxidil topical, or if you're using Rogaine or something like that, or if you start Rogaine, they talk about shedding. But shedding is actually it's actually a positive sign, because it means that the hair follicle just went into a new growth cycle, and it just released the old hair, and it's starting a new thing. Because hair loss is actually not when you lose hair. So people think when they see their hair coming out that that's hair loss. That's actually not hair loss. We all shed on average 100 hairs a day. So just like every cell in your body's,
cool fact.
Every cell in your body's replicating, and they say on average every 7 years, every cell in your body is a different cell. So, when you look at hair falling out or shedding hair, that's actually not hair loss. Hair loss is caused when the hair that's replacing that hair is thinner, and it gets thinner and thinner and thinner until you have hair loss. So it's really about hair health is being able to look at the diameter and the thickness of the hair, and a healthy hair follicle produces thick, healthy hair. So it's really, if you focus on the health of the hair follicle, the hair really takes care of itself. Yeah. But consistency for 90 days is important, and also not freaking out about what you see. If you see some shedding, or if you see hair coming out, that's really not the problem. The problem is when that hair gets thinner and thinner and thinner.
In the hair follicle, exactly. The thickness, the health is related to the thickness of the hair coming out of the hair follicle. And what you said about the growth cycle, 90 to 100 days. And I think that sentiment is the perfect way to wrap up our podcast, because I always talk about how people can reverse engineer their morning and nighttime routine to things that even bother them, right? So a problem, a challenge that they have in their life throughout every year of your life, every season of your life, your morning and nighttime routine is going to change. My morning routine when I didn't have children is very different than what it is now. And same thing, let's say you're listening to this podcast and you haven't done anything for your hair, but it's been bothering you for a while. So you can create a morning routine, a nighttime routine, reverse engineer the problem, and then, like you said, be proactive, create maintenance, but it works across the board for anything. So if you're listening and it wasn't about hair and it was about acne, or I think you said a few other things, whatever ailments, whatever situation, it can even be something with you want to find a job. Okay, so let's build a morning and nighttime routine on LinkedIn, and what are you going to do and how's it going to be? I think that's the main thing of why I love morning and nighttime routines is they always change and we want to reverse engineer them.
It's so cool what you're doing because you have so much value to offer. Like you have gone through so much, you've learned so much. And I'm so inspired by you and the work that you do. And you have so much to offer. So thank you for doing this podcast. Thank you for creating this podcast and creating all the content you do. And whoever listens to this woman is very fortunate because she is so knowledgeable, and it's hard to know who to trust. And this is somebody that you can really, really trust because she is as good as they come. So
thank you for coming, John. Thank you.
For having me.